What's up, Internet? We are here with 401 Real Game by CoolBoy on the Famicom, played by the terrible Retron 3. And today we are going to look at... all the way up at 121, Wonder Ball. No idea what this thing is. Let's check it out. Okay, I am positive this is unofficial. Okay. Um... Am I supposed to... I'm not actually doing anything. Like, I don't understand what this is about. Okay. So that went to a red thing. And I hit a button, and then a thing happened, I guess. But where the ball goes is random. The ball's color is random. So... this exists, I guess. Okay, well, I got another thing. That one's going to a red, so I hit the button, and I guess my guy cheers about it. I think. Oh, I see. So, yellow's one button, red is another, and when the colors match, I have to hit a button while they overlap, I think? Possibly? Man, these pirate original games are really not good. In fact, I believe this is a game by a little company called Nice Code, and if you're not familiar with them, by the time we finish this multi-cart, you will be. And I will just spoil it right now. If it's got Nice Code's name on it, it is like the worst thing ever. This is just a thing. It is what it is. I can say that with full confidence. Whether or not I would ever call this a game, I'm not sure, though. It's more like just hitting a button and sometimes a thing happens, possibly. I mean, this isn't the first time we've seen a game that's kinda like that on here, but... okay, so you hit the wrong button and then they shake their heads. So let's see what happens when we hit the wrong button enough times. Because it seems like if you don't hit anything, you're not penalized or anything, it just goes on. Huh, game over. Okay, well, I think we get it. It's terrible. Alrighty. Oop, where are we? Oh, we got Xevious! Hooray, Xevious. This was, I believe, the original scrolling shooter. Because before this, it was basically just a static screen, like Space Invaders. And this game is very, very old school. Like, it feels like you're piloting like a World War I bomber, having to drop bombs out your window just to kill things. But that said, it's not a bad game. And, I mean, if you're a fan of stuff like Twin Bee, this is basically the precursor to Twin Bee. I believe it's by the same company, too. So, you know, there's also that. But, Xevious is pretty good. It's very simple, but it's not bad. I'm not the greatest at these kinds of games, but I quite like Xevious. I've got quite a lot of respect for Xevious. And, earlier this year, I actually got a cartridge of its sequel, Super Xevious, which was basically this, but more detailed and a different world layout. So it was basically literally just a sequel to Xevious, and you know, Xevious is a great game. It's a hard game and it's very, very rudimentary, but there's nothing wrong with it. And I mean, I like to name drop Game Center CX a lot. They had this fun little segment where they put it in invulnerability code and let the game run on autopilot with rapid shooting for one whole month just to see like what would happen. And well, of course, at one point they max out the score, and after that the numbers in the scores kind of freak out a little bit because that's what happens. Also, it helps if you have a rapid controller. Because, I mean, this is regular shooting speed. This is about as fast as I can hammer it. And here's rapid. Rapid is just better. And in a game where you're going to be wanting to hammer that button down as much as possible, rapid controller, it's useful. I mean, that's why rapid is usually a an inherent feature. Oh, hey, these things, the Bakuras. These would later cameo in Tales of. As a trap that was indestructible in Tales of Symphonia, and as a creature that would give you metric crap tons of experience in Tales of Xillia. But they were also really rare enemies. Also the source of one of the Devil's Arms, I believe. If I recall, there was a... I can't remember if it was Xevious 3D G Plus on the PS1 or one of the Parodiuses, but it featured these guys with like a ridiculous number above them. And the number was like in the 9,000s, but allegedly if you could reduce that number to 0, they would die. But it was such a like stupid high number, you could never do it. I don't think I've ever actually gotten this far in Xevious. I would like to continue this streak of going further in places, but I won't. But it was Xevious, and Xevious is always a treat to play. And where's that reset button? There it is. Alright, next we have soccer, or football. It could be America, Gabber, Fra, Ferg, Bra, Jippen, or Isp. Well, I like ESP, and the psychics on our team must mean that we're going to win. So we'll go with Isp. Because Espers are awesome. No! What? Oh god. Sports. Why do you have to be so... sports? Oh. The music seems to be dipping in and out of quality of sound. Now, this is one thing I really don't like about sports games. I mean, aside from the fact it's sports, and I don't like sports in general, it's that you control every member on your team, but you just sort of randomly swap to whoever's closest to the ball, and that ends up getting really obnoxious. Because you'll just randomly swap to, like, a different character, and it's like, oh god, I'm facing the opposite direction of where I need to be. Why? Like, boom, now I'm the guy on the left instead of the guy in the center. Even when I know it's gonna happen, it's just awkward. Like, see, now I'm this guy. Maybe I didn't want to be this guy. And I get the idea of a sports game where you only play one member of the team isn't necessarily appealing because it means that you're probably going to be delegated to, well, basically where you'd be delegated where you're actually playing sports, which is probably the sidelines or some support role. But, you know, it would at least be a little bit more sensible to control, I would think. And now I'm controlling the goalie because reasons. I don't know. I understand this game as well as I understand actual soccer, and I played that game for like 7 years. And I hated every minute of it. Hooray! But my psychic Espers managed to win a goal point. Touchdown! And all that. It was a hole-in-one. From the 3-point line or whatever this game is about. I genuinely don't remember. And it's probably for the best I don't remember. I was not very good at this game back when I had to actually play soccer. I don't know. Football's never been a game I've been particularly interested in. Can't I just punch him or something. This is where the Mutant League games were actually cool. You could actually attack other players and stuff, and it was actually fun. I remember Mega Man Soccer being a thing, and I remember that not being a great thing, but I remember at least enjoying it because it felt like there was more to it than actual sports. I mean, it's like the weirdest crossover thing ever. Like, why would you combine Mega Man with, like, football? But it happened. Hooray! Oh, halftime. I don't want to play a whole other half. No, thank you. Are we going to get a halftime show? We earned this. Let's watch the cheerleaders wear basically nothing and cheer for us for being awesome at a game I'm terrible at. Okay. That was not worth it. And next we have Challenger. Oh, God, Challenger. Real-time action adventure. I like this game, but it's brutally hard, and it's really tough to beat the standard level. We're going to set it as low as possible just to give us a fighting chance. But I do not expect to beat this level. Scene 1 is very tough. This whole game in general is tough. For one thing, if you're used to standard platformers, jump and shoot, or in this case throw your knife, is swapped. So if you were expecting A to be jump, it's B. And it's weird. And the music is terribly off-key because Retron 3 is a piece of garbage. Now the nice thing is, because we set it on such a low difficulty, it was actually not too bad to get here. There's normally like lightning clouds and a bunch of other crap on top of the train that make it almost impossible. Duck. And if you screw up anywhere here, there's no checkpoint, so you gotta start back at the beginning. Now we're playing on the easiest mode, so it's not too bad. But the level's basically twice as long as you'd think it would be, because you have to go through the entire level twice. And we gotta rescue Princess Leia. Oh, we didn't. But that's how the game is supposed to be played. Now we move on to the actual game that plays completely different than this for some reason. Scene 2 is where the rest of the game takes place. It's a top-down game for reasons. Now the idea would be, and I guess it's because we set it to difficulty 0, but there would be all sorts of enemies ganging up on us. There'd be a skeleton in front of this cave right now, and that skeleton is invincible unless you kill 5 enemies in a row to get a sword power-up. But we need to go in here to collect things. And we just died. So, this is not a great representation because we're setting this up on like the easiest difficulty where all challenge is removed, which is probably how Challenger should be played the first time over because this game is stupid hard. And of course, we're on a time limit. And yes, you should attack whales. I think he has some kind of crazy power-up if you attack like a special whale that shows up if you manage to kill like 10 enemies with 10 consecutive throws without dying. This game has a lot of rules. Like, evidently you cannot drop with a certain distance or else you die, kind of like in original Donkey Kong. So yeah, there is that. Okay, let's get the keyword. Okay, now we have to go back. We're still on a time limit. And like scene 2 is like this giant map. Okay. Good. Not great. Just sort of okay. Don't worry about it. Now I gotta go continue to find things to find the princess, who is in the final cave of the game, which you can only get to once you clear all the other caves. But normally this area is like swarming with like 5 or 6 enemies, like at all times. The screen is always filled with enemies. It's a really tough game. Oh, I don't think I can actually kill these guys with my knives. That's a problem. Yeah, I'd like to power up. I'd also like this fire guy to get out of the way. Oh no! Come on, whoa. That screen scrolling is... Oh no! But this is one of two really early Famicom games that a lot of people say is really bad that I really like. The other one is Atlantis no Nazo, and I think it's also on this cart, so we'll see it at some point. But, yeah. It's an interesting combination of top-down adventure, sort of Zelda style, meets side-scrolling platformer, meets nonsense, really. Oh, no. Aw. Okay, well, I think you get the point. But really hard game. I just set it on easy, and, well, it ramped up in difficulty real quick now, didn't it? Alright. And finally we have DJ Boy. I think this is also a nice code game. I know that was definitely not an official screen. This was brought to you courtesy of the year 1991. And it's still DJ Boy. Oh hey, no, I know this game. I reviewed this game way back in the day. This is, Roller Games, which was a Konami platformer, where you, play as a roller skater. In this case, Gem, from Gem and the Holograms, and not that terrible movie that came out a couple of years ago, that shit on everyone's, nostalgia. And completely abused its fans. You should look that movie up, or at least what that movie did, because it's a disgrace, and that's coming from someone who was a big fan of Gem and the Holograms back in the day. Gem and the Holograms helped me get through an entire year of 20-hour test taking every day. Because that was the one day I allowed myself to, or that was the one period of the day I allowed myself to take a break, was to watch Gem and the Holograms. It was awesome. It was cheesy, and I loved it. And it had a rocker chick with green hair and war paint, and she was incredibly cute. And she was in this game, and she would actually go on to later train the GGs to be the greatest graffiti gang ever. So all things go back to Jet Set Radio, including games Konami made for the NES back in the day under their Ultra Games logo. Whoa. But it's not their best platformer for sure. It's like no Ninja Turtles, but it's a fun little game. It's got some interesting physics to it because you're of course on rollerblades. But it's a goofy concept, and it's, you know, it's not a bad game at all. Because roller games. Who doesn't want to be a rollerblading, pink-haired songstress, kicking ass and taking names? And I believe there is special abilities in this game. Yeah, like that. It's a pretty fun little beat-em-up. It's not the best platformer ever, but as a beat-em-up, it's not too bad. And the goofy concept, I think, is enough to make it worthwhile. And it's a pretty cheap game last I checked. Last I checked, you could get it, like, for $15. And that's good, because it's not great, but, you know, it's enjoyable. Whoa. Yeah, this game loves its instant death pits. They're, later on, the levels are literally nothing but instant death pits. Okay, come on. Whoa. Oh no. We gamed over. Ah. Oh well. That was a pleasant surprise to be reunited with that game. And that was these past 5 games. Wonder Ball? Well, that was a terrible game by a terrible company that should feel bad for everything they've ever done. and probably don't. Xevious is an absolute classic. Soccer is a game I do not like, nor do I care for. I like Challenger. It's not a great game, and it's not an easy game, but I quite like it. And DJ Boy was the legendary Roller Games, which I quite like. Would I say these past 5 games were worth it? Well, if you take out Soccer and Wonder Ball, you got 3 solid games. 2 of them pretty rudimentary, but, you know, solid games. So, you know what? I'm going to say, yeah, just definitely skip Wonder Ball. Anyway, next week we'll take a look at Red, which I'm horrified because I'm 99% sure I know exactly what this game is. But I hope you enjoyed, and if you want to see more of this, feel free to subscribe to the show and maybe help support my Patreon. Get on the Patreon supporters Discord and talk about how awesome Gem and the Holograms was. But I'll see you next time, where we check out Red. And until then, peace out, Internet.